get a preview here to see what hand this is coming up. Ah, yes. So the poster posts, and he raises from under the gun. He's a 41-34 player, 7%, and he usually c-bets 79% of the hand. When he fails to c-bet here, I feel like he has some mediocre hand strength to absolutely no hand strength. Like, I think he would have bet on any of his ace-high hands. He would have bet, yeah, see, there was my read on him. He c-bets weak, and so now when he doesn't c-bet that flop, and then he decides to bet the turn, it was kind of a smallish bet. It wasn't a pot mash. I decided there's no way that he has this card in his hand. I put in a little raise, and we win the pot. See, the little small things that you take into consideration, that he c-bets a lot. That means he's going to be c-betting a lot of bad hands. It means he's going to be c-betting a lot of ace-high hands. Those are really popular hands to bet because those hands are going to, you know, you can hit an ace and probably be good. They're not going to put you on one. So, I mean, just try and figure out what their tendencies are and how you're supposed to exploit them. If you know what they're doing before they're doing it, they're going to be really hard to play against. As you see, we've made Cope and Diem and P.S. Madsen orange. It's not because they're great players. They are more solid for the level. It just means that they're on all my tables. This you can fold pre-flop, but I was feeling my oats after making that play over there, and I was kind of going full steam ahead right now. So double play, who also c-bets 100% of the time. When he fails to do that, I feel like he has marginal showdown value. I put him on a queen or a jack right here, and when he bets here, I'm check shipping. I put the $100 chip out there. I'm a big fan of doing that. Can't wait to put the $1 million chip out. That's going to be a good time. And he snap calls, and I'm way off. So he flopped the absolute nuts and didn't c-bet. And so that changes his stats a little bit. Here we're not actually looking at this hand, we're actually looking at next hand. Fat Tony had been 3-betting me more than most. Cope and Diem ended up 3-betting me later on in the session quite a bit, and kind of consistently, but really picked it up after I stacked him a couple of times. Actually, it wasn't fully stacked, but I took a couple of big pots off him, and so he was really playing back at me. And when he 3-bets me, he did it kind of large, and I really felt like he wasn't going to have a very strong hand here. I felt like it was going to be a lot more bluffs and stuff. And I think I had 4-bet him on another table, once again with ace-king. I never 4-bet less than ace-king except for once, and we'll see that hand. I 4-bet pretty premium hands, and I just want to keep it really straightforward, and if I had to play after the flop, I would. So this one I purposely made it small, figuring that he's going to shove a really wide range here, and as you see, he shows up with pocket sevens. This play, I think, is absolutely horrible on his part. My raise looks absolutely stronger than, well, very strong, I think, and yes, he did technically get his money in good, but against, once again, so in the hand, face up, he played very well. As you see, he leaves immediately. So he was probably tilted, but against my hands, I know what I'm getting in. I know I'm not getting an ace-queen, and I'm not going to get in 8s or 9s pre-flop, so those against those hands, he will be winning. In that particular spot, I would have been 4-betting 10s and better, and 9s and 8s are kind of on the fence about what I would have decided to do. Yes, he's going to get folds from 7s and worse. I will probably be more likely folding those hands or calling to play a pot in position for 3-bet or for a set value. However, I wasn't getting very good odds. He did make it $10. So I'm most likely folding 7s and lower. 8s I might be folding or calling. 9s I'll be doing any 3 of those depending on how I feel that particular spot. It's more likely that I'd be shipping him, but probably still not yet. And then once again I'd be going with 10s and better and ace-king. And so his 7s do very poorly against that hand, seeing how he's flipping coins against 2 of those hands, which is ace-king suited and ace-king off, and dominated by everything else. This hand, the player donk bet, and he donk bet 33%, which is really confusing to me. And the reason, and then he continued on every 3 streets and bet really small, you know, like half pot bets. And I don't know why he bet so small. I guess it was to get paid off by whatever it was that I had. I'm not sure what possessed him to donk this flop, because he does it 33% of the time. And so it kind of confused me into a call down, and he ends up showing up with king queen off for he turned a king. And so I end up calling down. I think my call down there is pretty measurable. I think once he continues on the turn that I can safely dump my hand. Yes, I do have a pair and a gut shot, but I mean, I don't know. It is a small bet. I'm actually getting behind in this, which is good because it keeps you from being nervous. This pot I raise. He's been playing really straightforward in position against me. He hasn't been raising a lot, and he's shown so far he's shown that he doesn't want to raise with draws. So when he raises here, I was actually fairly certain that he didn't have a draw, which means that he's going to have to fold a lot of his hands. I feel like he would have folded sevens, eights, maybe even nines here, pocket twos. Fours he might have actually had to go with, just because he has presumably 10 outs. And so I 3-bet thinking that I have a lot of fold equity here and he's making a move. As it turns out, he kind of was. But I'll let that be a little surprise after the hand comes through. I had to get really lucky in this hand, but he could have easily won the hand by jamming his hand, which is what he should have done. And so what I found out is at this level, they really just don't play their draws very aggressively whatsoever. They do a lot of check calling. This is the one time that he did actually decide to flat call, and I guess he was getting the right odds. Maybe he's afraid he's going to be up against a set or something like that. But how am I going to have a set there? I have to have pocket threes, pocket fives, or pocket sixes, or 7-4 or 4 deuce for him to be in really bad shape. It's hard for me to have those hands. It's a lot more likely that I have something like pocket eights, pocket nines, and I'm turning them into a bluff. As it was, I have king 5 suited, and I'm turning that into a bluff. I was folding if he shipped, figuring that I was probably trying terribly. And the board comes running perfect for me, and I'm still not really that in love with my hand, because I feel like when he just flat calls, that's a lot stronger than jamming. I feel like jamming is still possible, that he has draws in his hand, and I feel like there's a couple other hands that he could have besides having a 5 technically beat, even though he's a favorite against the 5 with a flush draw and 2 overs. So I'm not exactly thrilled with my hand. I do decide to bet stack it if I did get raised, which I probably would be behind here 100% of the time. He'd probably have pocket threes or pocket sixes, or 6-5. 6-5 would be hard for him to have. And he ends up showing up with ace queen of clubs. And how he does not jam that flop, I have no idea. Next hand we pick up ace king suited. Raise pre-flop, c-bet, and he folds. He plays really straightforward. That's a hand that I should have checked to him. I believe if I could have that one back, I would have checked that one to him. So that was a lot to talk about. But about that pocket, but about his ace queen of clubs there on that board, you just got to jam that in. Looks like we 3-bet PS Madsen. And he really floats a lot of 3-bets in position against me. The other two regulars, they probably didn't recognize me. They might have recognized me from higher stakes, I don't know. But they really kind of seemed like they really wanted to play against me. I don't know if they felt like I was a soft spot or whatnot, or if it's they got stuck to me early and then decided they want to keep playing. Here I end up just giving up against Noir, or Noret, whatever his name is. And what comes into play here is this next hand. And this is kind of some multi-table metaing game. As last time when he raised and 3-bet, I called him on both tables. And